When the music stopped and the laughter faded into the night, Ethan Brooks stood quietly by the exit, holding his car keys, watching his coworkers stumble out of the hotel ballroom. He had no plans to party, he couldn't afford to. His babysitter was waiting at home with his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, and every minute after midnight meant another few dollars he didn't have. But just as he turned to leave, a shaky voice called his name. "Ethan, wait." It was Claire Reynolds, his boss. The woman everyone in the office both respected and feared. Perfect hair, perfect suits, perfect composure, except tonight, she was far from it. Her usually calm gray eyes were glazed, her voice slurred, and her heels wobbled dangerously on the pavement. "Claire, you okay?" Ethan asked, instantly concerned. She tried to wave him off. "I'm fine, just need a minute." But when she took a step, she nearly fell. Ethan caught her before she hit the ground. "I think you've had enough to drink," he said softly. Claire gave a weak laugh. "You think?" The valet had already left, and her car keys dangled from her hand. Ethan hesitated. She was his boss. Driving her home could be misinterpreted, but leaving her alone in that state wasn't something his conscience would allow. "Claire," he said carefully, "let me drive you home. I'll make sure you get there safely." She blinked at him for a moment, then nodded, whispering, "You're a good man, Ethan." He didn't know why, but those words hit him harder than expected. The drive was quiet except for the sound of rain starting to fall. Claire leaned her head against the window, mumbling about how everyone thought her life was so perfect. Ethan didn't reply. He knew better than to interrupt someone carrying that kind of weight. When they reached her house, a mansion on the edge of the city, Ethan helped her inside. The lights flickered on, revealing a large but lonely home. She looked around as if seeing it for the first time. "I work so much, I forget what this place looks like," she whispered. Then, before stumbling up the stairs, she turned back to him. "You're a good father, Ethan. Don't ever lose that." He froze. "How do you know that?" She smiled faintly. "Lily's drawing's on your desk. You always keep one there. I notice things, even when people think I don't." The next morning, Ethan woke up early as usual. He'd gotten home past 2 a.m. and only managed a couple of hours of sleep before Lily climbed into bed beside him. "Daddy, you came home late again," she murmured. He kissed her forehead. "Yeah, sweetheart. Had to help someone last night." When he arrived at work later that morning, he braced himself for trouble. Surely Claire wouldn't remember much, but what if she did? What if she thought he'd overstepped? Ethan motioned for her to sit. And for the first time, the CEO and the waitress spoke not as employer and worker, but as two souls bound by fate. Ethan told her about Daniel's ideas, his ambition, and how he'd been desperate to secure funding to pay for his sister's hospital bills. Lily cried quietly, realizing her brother had been working for her till the end. But then Ethan added, "There's more." A week after he vanished, his car was found near the river. No one ever found him. The words hit her like a blade. Her brother was gone, or so it seemed. Weeks passed. Ethan couldn't shake off the encounter. Something about Daniel's disappearance didn't feel right. He used his resources to reopen the case privately, while Lily kept working, unaware that the man she'd served coffee to every morning was now fighting to uncover the truth for her. One cold evening, Ethan called Lily to his office. She came nervously, wiping her hands on her apron. When she entered, she saw a folder on his desk and her brother's photo on top. Ethan smiled softly. "Lily. I found him." Her heart nearly stopped. "WH what?" "He's alive. Daniel was injured and lost his memory. He's been living in a rehabilitation center under a different name. He was found in a remote town months ago." Lily broke down sobbing, her hands shaking uncontrollably. "Oh my God, my brother, he's alive?" Ethan nodded, emotion thick in his voice. "Yes. He's been waiting, he just didn't know for who." Days later, when Lily finally met Daniel again, the moment was overwhelming. He looked thinner, older, but the moment their eyes met, something inside him clicked. He whispered her name, Lily. And she fell into his arms, crying uncontrollably. Ethan stood silently a few feet away, tears glistening in his own eyes. For the first time in years, his heart felt light not as a CEO, but as a father and a human being who had witnessed the miracle of family and love. After Daniel recovered, Ethan offered him a position in his company. "Your ideas deserve to shine," he said. "And your sister deserves the world." Lily continued working, but not as a waitress anymore. Ethan helped her study business, and soon she was managing one of his company's departments. One evening, as the sun set over the skyline, Lily turned to Ethan and said softly, "Sir, you changed our lives. I don't know how to thank you." Ethan smiled, looking out at the horizon. "You already did, Lily. You reminded me that some things are worth more than money, like family, loyalty, and hope." And as the city lights flickered below, 3 broken lives stood together, healed by fate, by kindness, and by the unspoken belief that no one is ever truly lost.